Hello there, I'm Dominique St-Pierre, and you're listening to the Go podcast. Today we will talk about project structure and naming your packages. Hey there, so today we will talk about project structure and package names and all of those small things that make things a little bit complicated for newcomers, I think, and also even for seasoned Go developers. Well, as they say, naming things is hard, and it's especially harder in Go, I think. And also, I promise I will not have any sound effects anymore. So that's that. So if you want a background on that story, you may look at the Reddit thread that I posted for the first episode. Why project structure and naming things would need a complete episode for themselves? Well, it's because it's a mindset difference in Go compared to almost anything else. Let's say you are coming from Rails, or you are coming from Node.js, or you are coming from .NET or Java. I mean, you probably already have a project structure in those languages. There is generator, or there is file new projects in Visual Studio, for example, or you start with something at least to prepare that you can already run, and that is of a decent format or a globally accepted format across developers in that community for that language. You don't really have that in Go. Well, of course, there is some standard and whatnot, but the point is, since you are starting on a naked root directory at first, then it might it is intimidating at first to understand where things go. How do you name your directory or your packages and whatnot? So I think I think it should be something that we take a little bit more times to greet newcomers to Go and let them know that it's okay. There's no issues here, and it's not as stressful as they might think. I think the fact that we are starting with a blank directory involve a lot of decision at first, which should probably not be taken at that moment. So I think if people were to start, let's say with the flat root directory at first, and start to extract packages as they see them really taking form and have more experience with Go, I think it would be a better way to start. So if there is newcomers in Go that listen to that, just know that you will not break your application. You will not make any wrong decision that you will not be able to fix later at first. So you are not forced to over-engineer anything at first. So don't sweat it. Don't think too much about that. Just start your project. Do a main.go file in the root directory. Start from there. Create more files, more Go file. Create your tests, and as you go, you will discover those packages yourself. So when it feels right, you will be able to create them. But even if you create a package, it's very easy to refactor code in Go. So don't worry about doing it wrong. I mean, we all done that. So at first, when I started with Go, I was creating controllers package, model package, and whatnot. I even wrote a book, and in my book, this is the structure I use because that was what I was comfortable with. Was it the best structure? Of course not, but it worked. I mean, I've built at least 3 product with that structure, and they are still in production today, and there's nothing preventing from a refactoring effort that would clean things up. So yeah, it depends on your team, and if there is already standard established, then you should follow those standards internally in the company. But the point is that it's not terrible to make mistake at first, and yeah, you can always fix that later. A couple of tips and tricks that I've seen so far. So if you are creating some kind of application, not a library, but an application that needs to run, so there's 2 camps actually. So there is there is some gophers that create a CMD package, and inside that, if you have multiple executable, multiple application that will need to be executable, you could create some packages inside this CMD sub package. I've done that. I also done directly into the root directory that is the main application, and the packages are created from there. I don't think there's a rule here that apply. It's a preference thing. And another things that I've seen that seems to be the de facto, or at least there's a majority of gophers that seems to do that. If you are going to create a package, for example, let's say you have a customer package, then you might probably have a customer.go file in there, which would be like the entry point of the package, for example. So from there, you could have other Go file, of course, but it's a standard that I've seen used, most. If you are building a web application, you might wonder why the controllers, why the typical MVC structure is not the preferred way to do that in Go. It's because your packages must tell a story, must tell the developers that this is the customer package, this is the order package. So those are domain knowledge of what you are building, instead of telling their function per se. And this is where things get complicated at first. So because this will involve starting to probably use interfaces. Just if you think about passing around CRUD functions, for example, for saving, retrieving, updating, and inserting those entities, or those domain entity of your application. So this is where things get complicated, because as a newcomer, you might want to do the right thing at first, but you might not have yet this the experience to work with those kind of interface at first. And I'm talking about your first project here. So that's why I would believe it would be better to suggest that at first, well, don't do that if you're not 100% comfortable with that idea of having maybe one function interface or multiple function interface and whatnot. Don't do it yet. You will be able to refactor that, or your next project you'll be able to do that, but it might be difficult to do that the right way at the first. Well, the right way. It's not even the right way. It's the suggested or preferred way. And as you continue to create your package, one thing that will probably happen at some point is you will hit this issue where you cannot really import package in a circle way. So that will prevent you from coupling too much your packages, but it will also add some complexity that at some point some packages will probably need other packages and in a circular way, and at that time it's also kind of difficult to see that and maybe rework the package structure. So at some time, at some point and at sometimes in a project, it might just make sense to take some times and think about, okay, this customer, this order packages might benefit from having either something in the middle of them, or they could be merged together for some reason, or depending on the type of application that you're building and the style of your team. There is multiple options there, but that's another difficult aspect of trying to have a simple structure for your packages, but still trying to have also the best way for readability possible. Because at the end of the day, why are we wanting to name our packages so well? It's because the way you are using them. So if you are on your application and you use, I don't know, customer.new or customer.save or whatever, so that helps readability versus having something else. I don't have an example, but the point is, this is the reason why we are putting so much effort into naming packages, but it's also a super hard skills to even master, if that's possible. Another trap that I've seen a couple of times is there is something like creating too much packages as well. So this is one thing to have everything in the root directory, but it's also another thing to have, like, I don't know, 100 packages in your application, which kind of make things very, very hard, because sometimes packages might have only one file and a couple of exported functions in them. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, I think. So yeah, I've seen those two. So you might want to be careful to not fall into that trap, because it's easy at some point to say, oh, this should be its own package, and now you add complexity instead of helping. But again, it's so tricky. I don't think there is a way to. I don't think there is even one single developer that could say of themselves that are doing Go that, yes, I can tell you I master how to structure the any project that you throw at me. I will have the right answer. It seems to be an art. It seems to be mixed with preferences and whatnot. So yeah, I think this is the beauty of Go. In fact, there's no constraint really. It's also scary at first, because you don't have this kind of safety net of having, well, if you want to create a model, well, you have this model folder. If you want to create XYZ, then so since there is no established structure, it can feel a little bit, scary at first, but it's also what makes Go extremely easy to get started with, I think, because you just open your editor, you write some code, and you have an application. No need to understand any complexity as well, because as much as let's say Rails or .NET give you some type of huge pre-formatted solution at first, you still need to to learn those things. You need to learn those frameworks and whatnot. You don't have that in Go, but the counterpart is that you have a lot of responsibility now of trying to do your best structuring your application and naming your packages. And I'm sorry, I don't have better content or better tricks to say it is very hard. And myself, I mean, I look at code that I wrote 1 year ago, and I look at that today with new eyes, and I'm like, wow, those packages, that structure is not very good, but that's okay. I mean, it's the application run, and it can still be changed. Nothing is stuck there. So yeah, I think that's where we will close that for today. All right, that's it for this week. I hope you liked the episode. And again, if you can share and talk about the podcast, that would be extremely appreciated. Also, if you want to check my book out, I have a course named Build SaaS App in Go. So it's at buildsasappingo.com. All right, see you in 2 weeks. Bye.